Welcome to another edition of Objective Bias, featuring yours truly, Ace Alpha. And let's get right into it. You know what? No, before we get right into it, I just want to say happy belated Thanksgiving to everyone that follows me or my subscribers or anyone that tunes in. I hope you had a fruitful Thanksgiving, so to speak. Hope you enjoyed whatever traditions that you share with your loved ones, whether it's family, friends, or just colleagues, or shit, if it's even by yourself. If it's just that time of the year where you want to just unwind and be alone, hey, more power to you. I just hope that y'all enjoyed it, whatever that may be. So now let's get into it. In this episode, we are standing on business. And that's what the show is going to be entitled today. And there's a reason for that. Recently, there was a situation where T.I. and his son King got into it at a Atlanta Falcons New Orleans Saints game. Pretty much, they were in the suite and they got into a little argument, so to speak. And the reason that, again, I'm entitled in the show what it is because not even 2 minutes and 12 seconds into the back and forth, Young King mentioned standing on business 6 times. I had to tally it. After that, I was like, you know what? I'm done keeping count of how many times Young King is talking about standing on business because, for one, if you're really standing on business, you don't got to say it that many times. You know what I mean? Like, if you're really about whatever you are claiming to be about, which in this case is very obvious that he's claiming to be someone that stands on business, you don't got to keep letting it be known. You did what I mean, young man? But that's neither here nor there. The the young king himself, he is for some reason he really wants to be a part of the street life. Like, I'm just not understanding where this is coming from. You dig what I mean? Like, most of us, I mean, I can only speak for myself. I mean, the part of Atlanta that I grew up in, it wasn't too bad, but I mean, it had its hoods or whatever. And I was not interested in any shape, form, or fashion in being in the streets. Like, not even a little bit. I mean, I had, my friends or associates that, went that direction or, were so-called affiliated with street life. And I mean, me personally, I was like, we still cool, but I ain't on that type of shit that you on. You feel what I mean? Like, I was outside. I wasn't trying to be outside. And for whatever reason, he really wants to be outside. So let's get into the first thing that he had pretty much mentioned during this, back and forth of this altercation. One of the things he said is he never grew up with a silver spoon. Now, I don't know if he's confused or if he was putting on for the live or whatever the case may be. But come on, bro. Your daddy's a multi-millionaire. He's the king of the South. You feel me? He's a legend in his rap game. He's quite known and quite rich for you to even come out your mouth talking about you never grew up with a silver spoon. Come on, bro. Come on, little man. You know what I mean? And that's him saying that is really an indication of how disconnected his generation is with real life. You feel what I mean? Like, why do you feel that way? And what realm are you living? Respectfully, of course, he's a kid. You know what I mean? I ain't expecting him to answer these questions, but for real though, like, how do you feel like you didn't grow up with a silver spoon? You know what I mean? Like, and then the funny thing is Tip and his, spouse Tiny were both just kind of, making fun of just the way he was attempting to put on, so to speak. Tiny and Tip brought up the fact that he was sucking on the pacifier up until 12 and, this, that, and the third. And of course, that embarrassed him. He started getting emotional, which T.I. called him out on. And one thing led to another. And I'm going to get to that part, though. Another thing that he actually said was he wants to be outside, or he's been outside, or when he was growing up, he was outside at grandma's house. I don't know. It just didn't really make sense to me. For me, it was like, what does being outside really mean for you? You know what I'm saying? Like, because from the outside looking in, of course, we don't really know what the fuck is going on, in their household, but it just looks like you have, I want to call it reverse, what's the word I'm looking for? Reverse sheltered. You know what I mean? And what I mean by that is he is being sheltered from street life, but he wants to run in that direction. Like, usually when parents are, sheltering their kids, it's just really from just the real lives or temptations of what you may have come across, or whatever the case may be. Tip in his house seems to be wanting to shelter him from what T.I. would, you know what I mean? From what we know, he's been in the street selling drugs, been into a few altercations, lost loved ones, unfortunately, and because of his status, because of his, prestige, so to speak, his wealth, he has worked damn hard to keep that separate from what his kids got to grow up in. And I commend him. Like, any adult that has the capability to be in a position to where you can provide and protect, that's exactly what the fuck you gonna do. Now, if you got a motherfucker that wants to go against that, and you can, there's a plethora of things that can um be exercised by this kid that wants to do more outside of being in the actual streets. Like, why does this young kid want to be so hood? Like, why do you want to be that? Like, I get it that you kind of bring that personality trait from your dad as far as being, rambunctious or energetic or, outspoken or whatever. But how does that correlate to wanting to be in the streets? Like, why do you want to stand on business so bad? Like, and that's the thing, like this standing on business phrase that's caught fire where it's every fucking where. A lot of y'all don't even know what that fucking mean. Y'all just going with the damn slogan for clout and the sound good. You think it sound cool because you keep using it. Stand on business. I don't care where it was, where you dropped me at. I stood on business. I don't care. Like, what? Like, you see, I'm goddamn perplexed. You see how I'm stuttering and shit. Like, what goddamn business is this young man standing on? Like, for real, bro. Even when you go back to, a previous episode when he was younger and he was just getting so emotional about putting in work for his music, you know what I'm saying? He's just an emotional young man. You dig what I mean? And it's just, I just think that he's lost. You feel what I'm saying? I think he is or has fallen victim to, the portrayal of what his pops has put out there over time. And in the rap game, for the most part, not to say everybody's lying, but a lot of things can be fabricated, meshed in with true shit, because it's entertainment at the end of the day. They have to present a product that is pretty much attractive to the consumer, almost like a movie. You feel what I'm saying? Like, of course, you don't know what's true, what's versus what's being fabricated. Not saying I have no idea of what is fabricated versus what is truth, but I think that Young King has pretty much gotten sit too much of the sauce, so to speak. Like, you believe in it too much to where you want to be a part of that now. Let's say, for instance, for whatever reason, you were in the streets and something occurred to where you got seriously hurt or you were arrested. Now you got to do some time. I'm sure at that point in time, you're not going to want to stand on business no more. I'm sure you're going to be calling mommy and daddy like, hey, can you come get me this, that, and the third? Like, that's the thing I don't be understanding with these kids, man, is like, these kids in this generation, before I even get into that, let me just wrap up the altercation that they both had before I really get into my bag and my perspective when it comes to these kids and parenting and all of the above. So pretty much the altercation ended out with Tip hemming him up, so to speak. And a lot of people wonder if he was right or wrong, or if it was too aggressive, or whatever the case may be. Hey, I salute tip, bro. I would have did the same thing, straight up and down, like 6 o'clock. Like for some reason, these kids be feeling like they can't be touched, and I just feel like the appropriate discipline, like you don't gotta whoop a kid's ass, but you gotta let them know that respectfully, it can go down. Like it has to be a respectful fear that they have of you. You feel what I'm saying? Like, because these kids will try you. They definitely will. They think that they can talk to you any type of way. And you know what the crazy thing is? There's a lot of times where I've seen or I've experienced like snapping on the kid and they just looking appalled like, oh my gosh, why are you so mad? Why are you talking to me like this? And that's the crazy part because these kids don't even get their ass whipped no more and just yelling at them or talking to them in a stern manner be fucking them up. And that that carries on into what I wanted to get into next is these kids feeling entitled. Like this generation, they don't understand what real hard work consists of. Not to say they don't work hard, but it's like a lot of shit is given, like a lot, not even from a parenting perspective when it comes to the devices that they have, the access that they have to information. Even in school, school is like if a kid is failing school in this day and age, there's either a mental issue there, like a mental block, or they really don't care. You feel what I'm saying? Because school in 2023 is like a walk in the park, bro. Like, of course, I ain't about to sit down there and say I'm gonna goddamn be able to assist a child of mine's trigonometry homework because that math shit you gotta goddamn practice that over time. But that's neither here nor there. It's just that they have so much access to information. They have so many opportunities. They have so many things that are pretty much given to them that they really do feel entitled. Like I'm sure that King just feels like he needs to be, put on a pedestal, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? He wants to follow in his father's footsteps. He wants to be the king. Like, you know what I'm saying? It may have been a mistake, low key, to name him king. And, you know what I mean? He's trying to embody that, but he doesn't really have direction. Not to say that they're not providing that, but he's not listening for real. You feel what I'm saying? Like, there has also been times where T.I. has had interviews like all the whoopings, the punishments, you know what I mean? They're not working. He actually came out from an introspective point of view, just mentioning like shit, something bad may have to happen. Or he didn't say that verbatim, but he implied that like, you know what I mean? Sometimes, these kids gotta learn the hard way, even though they don't have to take that path. Like that'd be the crazy thing. Because you line it up to where they have like an easy path to success, so to speak, or an easy path to a chance at success. But because they think they know everything, they want to go about it their own way, which I've never understood. But hey, man, that's today's society. But yeah, a lot of them feel entitled. Like they feel like they're entitled to stuff, whether it's an allowance, but you put in minimum work when it comes to chores. You feel what I'm saying? Or hey, I need to get some money for this. Like, tell a kid no today. They gonna feel so offended. They're not gonna be your friend. Not even your friend. They not gonna fuck with you for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you said no to me? Yes, I said no. Do you know how many times my motherfucking parents told me no growing up? Like this shit got I was told no so much to where I was crazy annoyed at times, you know what I mean? But it's the principle behind it. It's the lesson that's trying to be taught. Like you cannot get everything that you want. Like you have to work for stuff. And if you as a kid meet some type of roadblock, that's a part of life because everything is not going to be handed, everything is not going to be given. So when you're told no, accept that shit. Like it happens. You're not going to, you're not going to run into yes with everything that comes your way. And these kids got it fucked up and confused for real. You know what I mean? Like, I get it. You know what I mean? Yeah, I sound like the old, grumpy parent or whatever the case may be. That's not it at all. I'm just speaking the truth. I'm just speaking the reality of what it is. Growing up, shit. We used to be kids too, even though we grew up in a different time and age. Shit, we had a lot of trials and tribulations that we had to go through. I know with me, Um, I come from a Liberian household. You feel what I'm saying? Even though I was born here in the States, my parents and my two oldest siblings were born in Liberia, and discipline was like at the forefront of the foundation of raising kids in my household or in the Liberian culture. And when I say I used to get my ass whooped, I remember it came a point in the time where I just thought I was a bad kid, to be honest. Because it just seemed like I could not stay out of trouble. But of course, as I grew up, matured, developed, I understood what all those ass were for. You know what I'm saying? I was a young boy that was outside, not outside like King wants to be, but I was outside, being mischievous, so to speak, or whatever the case may be. That was kind of, how I came up. But discipline was definitely in the forefront of my household. Now the thing about it in today's age is we can't put our hands on these kids. You dig what I mean? Like try to goddamn whoop your child in 2023. They'll call child services on you in a heartbeat. It don't got to be nobody else. Your kid probably goddamn will call them people on you, and then you got another issue. You know what I mean? But I actually wish discipline in that shape, form, or fashion was incorporated a little bit, not like I said, not to the point where you just literally hauling off on your kid, but in a sense to where like there's a respectful fear. Like what I mean by respectful fear, the fear of getting in trouble. So when you don't get that pop, so to speak, or that that slap or whatever that may look like. And I think another thing that pretty much died the disciplining aspect of whooping kids is a lot of parents really didn't know how to discipline their kids in that manner without being emotional. You feel what I'm saying? Like you're not supposed to whoop your kid if you even took that route while you're mad, while you're upset. You feel what I'm saying? Like whooping should have been a learning point, a learning process. You feel what I'm saying? Like you don't just be hauling off and just going crazy on your kid because you're emotional and you're mad and you're furious. That shit don't work. You know what I mean? Like you pop them a couple times, let them know what they did, tell them you love them, put them on punishment, and that's it. It's not personal. It's figuratively speaking, but nah, for real though. Like that's one thing that's wrong with these kids, and I think that for the most part, you have these book smart kids that literally take advantage of that. You dig what I mean? Because they know nothing crazy is going to happen to them for real, for real. You know what I'm saying? Like outside of a lecturing or a talking to. And they be like, I can handle that shit. I ain't worried about a little bit of straightening. You feel me? But that's to each his own. Every situation is different, and I also think that every case is different with kids. Like every kid doesn't need to be disciplined in a rough way. You know what I'm saying? But you do have those kids that do. Like that is necessary for some of them because you got these kids that unfortunately, and let's keep it a buck, parents. A lot of y'all are biased when it comes to your kids. Let's just keep it a buck. Oh, Lil John don't ever do that. Oh, uh, my daughter Kimberly would never, or or my kid Brian would never say. Now you got you a goddamn devious, rambunctious, um, what's the word I'm looking for? Slick, sneaky kid, but you're so biased that you're not gonna believe whatever it is that they're doing outside. You gotta stop doing it. You gotta be objective. Check out the time. Be objective, man. Be objective when it comes to your kid because if you approach your kid in an objective way, it's easier to parent, in my opinion. Like, what I mean? I'm a father, I'm a parent. And of course I believe in the appropriate amount of discipline, but if anything happens, I'm never going to put it past my child that they're incapable of doing something. You feel what I'm saying? Like there's some crazy things I did when I was growing up as a youngster. And a lot of shit motherfuckers, if I told, like, oh, you did. Yeah, like this crazy shit. You know what I mean? A lot of shit I ain't get caught doing or get in trouble for, but I did some shit. So I have to keep it in perspective that because I was capable of doing, some bad stuff or some kid, little boy type shit that, my kid could do. You feel what I'm saying? But um, I want to transition to the parenting dynamic. You get what I'm saying? Like, and the reason I want to talk about the parenting dynamic is because unfortunately, there's a lot of parents out here today that would rather be their child's friend versus their parent. And I wanted to bring that up because that low key, even though that seems like a good idea on the surface level, you're pretty much setting up a foundation to where if your kid feels like y'all are friends, they forget you're a parent. They forget you're the mother. They forget you're the dad. And they will come across as disrespectful at times, but because you leveled the playing field, so to speak, with the relationship, they feel entitled to be in that space with you, whatever it may look like. And that's the thing that parents have to remember and keep in mind that you have to separate yourself as the friend and always keep the position of the parent. For example, not necessarily knowing their specific dynamic, but Ja Morant and his pops. It looks like his pops is one of the members of the crew. And with that being said, Ja's out here, as of right now, he's currently serving a 25-game suspension in the NBA or whatever. But because his dad has portrayed being his friend, it kind of looks like Ja has no structure. He's the guy that is the breadwinner, so he pretty much gets to do what he wants. And if your dad ain't that, well, who's going to be there to, try to direct you or provide any guidance? You dig what I'm saying? And we see the troubles that he's gotten into, and that be the thing. And again, with the parenting dynamic, like you have to be able to always establish that dominance. Like, and again, this is respectful dominance. It's not like I'm trying to dictate how my kid moves in every single aspect, but I am the parent. You feel me? So I have to, be that disciplinary individual. I have to be that person that guides uh my child or my teenager or my young man or whatever the case may be. I have to be the one that they can lean on for support or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Especially as they're growing up. Kids really do need that structure. And I know there's a lot of circumstances that may not provide the the so to speak American dream when it comes to a family dynamic. You feel what I'm saying? Like every situation is different. You got your two parent households, you have your co-parenting situations, you have your baby mama versus baby daddy type relationships to where they at odds, so the kids suffer. So it's a lot that comes into play with raising these kids, and I just feel like in today's age, there's a lot of lazy parenting. Of course, I'm not going to put everybody in that boat because you have excellent parents out, and that's like real shit. And you can't take nothing away from excellent parenting. You did what I'm saying? But with that being said, you got the lackluster parents. Let me speak on like the two parent households. It's I won't say a false narrative, but it can be deceiving because you can have two parents in the same household, but one parent is pulling all the weight when it comes to, making sure the kids or the kid has everything they need. Also, you know, providing that structure, that leadership, that stern guidance at times, you know what I mean? And the other parent ain't doing shit but, going to work and coming home and just minding their business. You feel what I'm saying? And then you got those situations to where it's supposed to be a co-parenting relationship, but for whatever reason, one parent is stuck in their ways or is mad about some shit that happened 20 years ago or some shit, and they still holding on to it. Or the other parent is like, oh, if I'm not in the household and my philosophy is not being followed, then what's the point? And the thing that these parents are missing is it's supposed to be a collaborative effort. You feel what I'm saying? Regardless of whatever the situation is, if two parents are alive and well, it should be a collaborative effort to make sure these kids have some type of guidance because in today's age, they're so much more impressionable. And that goes back to the King and T.I. situation. King is very impressionable with the shit that Tip used to, display or rap about or shit he went through that he wants to be a part of that, but that's not really the move, young man. But there's a lot of kings out here. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of kids that see shit on TV or hear rap or rock or watch these movies and they want to portray whatever they're consuming. So, with that being said, as a parent, you have to collaborate if that is something that is in grasp for whoever's involved to make sure that it's a team effort in getting these kids right and keeping them right. Now, once they become of age, then of course you have to trust and rest on the morals that you instilled in your kids, hoping that they make the right decisions as they grow and get older. But you got to do the work. You know what I'm saying? You got to do the work at the beginning of everything, and things have to kind of come together, and you have to have faith in your teachings and your guidance over time. Um, with all of that being said, it's just everything has to come together. You know what I'm saying? It's supposed to always be like a family together. It's supposed to be a village. You know what I'm saying? But you also got those situations to where it's strictly single parents, whether the other parent is not involved at all because they don't want to. They went strictly MIA, or a parent unfortunately passed away. Now, of course, those situations are a bit more difficult, but that is a thing. Unfortunately, as parents, and I don't want to say this in a negative fashion, we have no choice but to parent. You know what I mean? Like, and of course, there's different situations for different circumstances, and everybody's circumstance and situation is different. But you have to be uh, willing to be there for your kids. And as far as the entitlement that these kids have, again, that just starts in the home. It starts in the foundation of whatever y'all got going or whatever it is that you're implementing into your household. You feel what I mean? Like you have to be mindful and present and in tune with whatever your kid got going and also, being a part of shit, whatever that may look like. And again, it's unfortunate that um, the young king feels the way he does as far as wanting to be outside or wanting to be so hood. But I mean, we all have our situations and moments to where our kids get on our fucking nerves. I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, but we love them to death. You feel what I'm saying? Like that. That's never gonna be. That never should be um, disputed or a conversation of the amount of love that we have for our kids or whatever. But again, that doesn't take away from the entitlement that these motherfuckers have. I ain't gonna lie to you, I can't even hold you. But that just goes to what needs to occur or what should be happening. And again, I'm not here to advocate or tell anyone how to parent, but just know that whatever foundation you lay, your kid's gonna follow suit. So if you're the type of parent that pretty much allows your kid to do whatever they want with no consequences, or you're constantly giving them wiggle room to get out of some shit and they get older, now they don't know how to, navigate through the real world, you don't have anybody to blame but yourself. You feel what I'm saying? Because you didn't do the work early. You wasn't proactive in creating that foundation to make sure that they had the tools necessary to tackle, real life situations. Because when kids get out there, the real world is not going to be friend. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to be friendly. It's not going to have any. It's not going to show any grace, whatever the case may be. So we got to do the work early. You dig what I'm saying? So also, you got to we got to be in tune with our kids as well. What I mean by that is attempt to have conversations with them, not just the fun loving conversation, like real conversations. I think that's also absent in the homes at times is having, like real check-ins, like, hey, what's going on with you? How you feel? What's going on in school? What's going on in your personal life? And giving them that space to be open and honest with you with what they got going on. Of course, a lot of kids are not going to get that in depth with, things they got going on, but it's up to you to provide that space. You dig what I'm saying? Like, be in tune. You know what I'm saying? Like, provide that space. Hey, how was your day? You got a girlfriend? You got a boyfriend? Or what's going on with your best friend? Y'all still rock? You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever, like, you have to show an interest in whatever they got going on personally, because if you don't, what's gonna make them want to open up in any regard? Now, it's not gonna happen overnight. Trust me when I say that. But you got to keep, providing that space to where they know that at some point in time, whenever they're ready to open up to you in that personal space. So it's being present, having real conversations with them, and also back to the title of the show. You got to stand on business when you're applying to discipline, whatever that looks like. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's putting them on punishment, taking something away from them when they fuck up, you got to stand on business. There's a lot of situations to where parents will put their child on punishment, right? Or get on them for fucking up in whatever way they fucked up, right? And then an hour later, like after you done sent them to their room or some shit, or like say a couple hours, you done sent them to the room. You up there acting all friendly and shit like they ain't got in trouble. Maybe it's not on business and you better ask for how long it takes. The shit, that's a couple days now. Like, we ain't about to be, like I'm still be a parent, but it ain't about to be no like lovey-dovey type shit. Like, not lovey-dovey, but you get what I'm saying? Like, ain't gonna be no consoling and doing all this. Oh, hey, how you doing? Everything good? We ain't about to have no regular ass conversation. It's all about business. Oh, you did your homework? You clean that shit up? Your bed fixed? Your room clean? I don't want to hear no dumbass shit come from school like that. That's the energy that you need to have, but just momentarily, because they have to feel it. Because for one, we can't put our hands on these kids no more. So if you're gonna instill discipline, you got to stand on business. Point blank, period. You know what I'm saying? If you yell at them, if you got them go off on them, stand on that shit. Don't come back say I'm sorry. Unless, I mean, of course, you know what I'm saying, if you got a little daughter, you can call her a bitch or some shit, or something derogatory like that, then of course you need to apologize for that. I ain't saying go that far. I ain't advocating for that. You gotta still be respectful. Discipline is about teaching, not hitting below the belt. So don't say Ace was like, oh, I need to go the fuck off and say whatever the fuck I want. No, I did not. I did not say that. I said discipline discipline with some structure. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can go off on your kid, kiss him on the forehead, and say, "Go in your fucking room and don't come out until I say so." That's gonna fuck them up. See, that's the thing. You gotta goddamn fuck with these kids too, just like they think they be fucking with you. Like, you gotta, get through to them in some shape, form, or fashion. You did what I mean, and stand on business. Like, you know what I'm saying? I know it'd be hard, especially like say it's an instance when it's a mother son dynamic, because we all mama's boys. I know. Even though my mom beat my ass, yeah, I was a mama's boy for her. You feel me? Or if it's like a dad and a daughter, you know this is gonna take it easy, or feel a certain type of way or bad if say the mom didn't put the daughter in her place. Now you want to come play hero in. Hey, I'm sorry. Let's go get some ice cream. Don't tell your mama. No, fuck that. That's I know y'all gonna get tired of me saying that shit this episode, but hey, man, there's a reason, man. You see, I got the polo on, man. I'm standing on business today. You feel me? I ain't gonna got no regular tee on. I'm about business today. But no, I mean, real shit, man. I know I'm having a little fun with this, but seriously speaking, when it does come to our kids and just raising them and just noticing any changes in, their mannerisms, behavior, or whatever they got going on personally. Like, we have to be present. And, I know every situation is not ideal. You have some parents that are not a part of their kid's life for whatever reason, whether it's forced or the parents don't get along, or there's so many different circumstances. So like, what, every situation is unique, every situation is different, but what we have to do is, even if there's not an ideal relationship between you and your kid, like, you have to make the effort, whatever that may look like. And also come together, if you can, to collaborate with the other parent, if possible, to try to get shit straight. But it's not always going to happen that way. And the ones that are fortunate enough to be in their kids' life, and be around their kids, make sure you love on them, make sure you guide them, make sure you're there when needed. You're there to support, be their biggest cheerleader, but also keep a balance of the actual parenting dynamic and skill set that you need to instill and, place upon them, whatever that may look like, from a sternness point of view, from a disciplinary point of view, from hey, I'm the parent, you're the kid point of view. You know what I mean? Like, there's no real blueprint for this. You feel me? Like, every parenting, kid, son, daughter dynamic is different, and that's where paying attention to your kid comes into play, because if you're not paying attention to them, you're not going to know how to approach them or deal with them. You know what I mean? And I don't even like to use the word deal, because you're not supposed to be dealing with your kids, but it kind of is. It kind of makes sense for what I'm trying to explain, because if you're not paying attention to your kid, if you're not paying attention to your young teen, how are you gonna know how to approach it? And again, when it comes to being stern or providing discipline, it looks different for every kid. You know what I mean? You may have the kid that you can just simply talk to and they'll get it. Or you have the kid that you have to be stern with, then they'll get it. You got the kid that you have to take some shit away from, and then they may get it. You got a kid that you got to goddamn go do some semi hard labor in the backyard or some shit, and then they'll get it right there. You know what I'm saying? So it really depends. Like, you just got to figure it out, and that's the thing. Like, continuously trying to figure out how to get across to these kids, because they can easily become lost, man. And trust me, this subject is near and dear to my heart. It's not something I'm gonna get into specifically, but trust me, I know what I'm saying in this aspect, because the kids are the future. As cliche as that may sound, it's the truth. It's the reality. You know what I mean? And we have to do all we can to, point them in the right direction, hold their hand when needed, and just be there, because shit, just remember when we was young, who did we attempt to turn to if we had our parents there for us? You know what I mean? We always, for me, I always looked up to my mom. You know what I mean? Like, my mom was my rock, so to speak. Unfortunately, my dad passed when I was young, so I didn't have him around. I mean, I had a stepdad and shit, but that relationship was like stale. Not on like some, like, he ain't like use me or some shit. Talking to me crazy. It just wasn't like it just wasn't like a relationship like that. So my mom was my rock, and what I mean, we just have to be that for our kids, and just try to guide them in whatever direction we can, and do it to the best of our ability. You know what I mean? And you should never be too tired to be a parent. And for the ones that have done it on their own, I salute y'all. You know what I'm saying? If you know what I'm saying, you've been grinding, been doing your thing, I salute y'all. For the ones that have resurfaced to try to be in their kids' life, at least you tried to, at least you're trying. You know what I'm saying? It's never too late. You know what I'm saying? It's better late than never, so to speak. Um, but yeah, at the end of the day, we have to make sure we do, whatever we can, and be as present as we can, and attack this parenting in a positive way. You know what I mean? And also, just like I said, you just got to do the work as a parent. Simple and plain. Do the work, live with the results, and rest on your morals and have faith in whatever you instilled in your kids, and hopefully they choose the correct path to walk. But yeah, I mean, with that being said, I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. You know what I mean? I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. I hope I entertained. I dropped a few gems and shit. If you disagreed with whatever I said or everything I said, man, I feel you. I ain't shit. I'm just a motherfucker on here that like to talk. You dig what I'm saying? Now, with that being said, everyone can talk, but not everyone can podcast. Now, I'm out.